Hi, welcome. So this is the fourth and last episode of this basic series of tutorials around MidiGyver, and we have been saving the best for the last. So far we have used MIDI events to control numbers or booleans and vectors and colors. We even saw how to use a little bit of JavaScript to add extra functionalities. We learned about global variables. And there's one extra feature that I want to show today, which is the ability to generate a pulse of events. And we can use that to basically run or control a clock. And this is particularly important if we want to do animation. So we're gonna drive this we're gonna call it a timeline uniform, which is gonna be a float, and we're gonna use that to control the animation on a shader. And to make it even more fun, I'm going to use this Ortho Remote control from Teenage Engineer, which is a Bluetooth device that sends MIDI events to the computer. So besides being beautiful and beautifully designed, it's gonna be extra nice to animate a shader with it. So without further ado, let's jump into the code. So the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna get some random animation. And for that, nothing better than the book of shaders. So I'm going to go to chapter 10 where we talk about random, and I'm gonna choose an animation that is based and very inspired on the work of Ikeda, Ryoji Ikeda. So as you can see, this shader, I'm not going to enter into the details, you can read that chapter, but the main important variable here that is driving this animation is uTime. So I'm gonna replace uTime by uTimeline. Of course, this uniform is not present right now as is in this shader. So it's 0, so the animation is non-existent, and I'm going to download it as is. So let's download it. Download. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna copy from the download folder, and I guess it's here. It is. I'm gonna call it test number 3.frag. The next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna also copy this test YAML files that I have been using. I'm gonna copy the ones from the beginning because I know that this is the most simple one. This is gonna to be our test YAML file that we're gonna feed to MidiGyver. So I'm gonna press here, and let's open it and start working. So here you can see that probably this toggle button we will not need, but also I realized that we don't have enough information, right? We don't know what is the keys or the name of the device. So what I do know that the uniform that we're gonna work is gonna call timeline. Let's go, and it's gonna be a scalar, so this part is okay. I'm gonna open protocol, great tool, and basically we're gonna use this to gather information about it. So I'm gonna move it, and there's a couple of things here. This is the name of the device. MidiGyver basically takes out the white spaces and replaces it by underslash. And then this is the key, the first column here, the data number 1 is the key, and the second one is the value. So what we are learning here is when it goes in this direction is 127, and when it goes in this direction clockwise is 1. So 1 clockwise, counterclockwise 127 on the key 1. And if we press, we can see that in key 0, and when it's pressed, it's 100, and when it's released, it's 0. So basically this was our data gathering, and now we're ready to jump into code. So this is gonna be, so actually the timeline here is, this is gonna be key number 1, and key number 0 is gonna be, we're gonna reserve that for the second part. But let's first hook it to the rotation. So this is gonna be timeline, and we are gonna use the shape function to modify a variable. So here, let's try this here just to test that this is actually working. So I'm gonna this and MidiGyver, yeah. Oh, we didn't set the name. So here you can see that MidiGyver is telling me there is something called Ortho Remote Bluetooth 128. So we can be lazy here, and we can use the wildcard and just put Ortho Remote. So this will link to whatever device that starts with Ortho / remote. And then we save this, we exit, we run again, and here it is. We have a 0 and 1. So stop this, let's go back to the code. And here, let's make this a little more interesting. So we're gonna piggyback from last class, sorry, I used to teach, from the last episode, and we are gonna set up a global variable we are gonna call time. It's gonna start in second 1. Right now, in this moment speaking, there's a weird bug when it's exactly 0 because it doesn't understand what, but that's gonna be fixed. Start this. And I'm going to use that variable, and actually I'm going to return that variable, the global time. So we don't care about returning if it's the direction. We return to return the time variable. And here let's put some logic, and we're saying if the value is counterclockwise, so 127, we are going to add a little bit of time. Else, so if it's equal to 0, what we're gonna do, we're gonna subtract this also teeny amount of time. This should be enough for now. Let's run this code, and you can see that it starts in 1, and then when it's driving this float, basically I can keep like spinning forever, and if I do it the other way, it goes back. So we got it. First thing accomplished. Let's just for fun run GLSL viewer with this test frac number 3, and we should be able to, animate it one direction, another direction. So far we're basically reusing all what we have learned up to here. This is where the new stuff comes. Let's exit GLSL viewer. So I was mentioning to you that we can generate a pulse. So this is under, so we have globals, we have pulses, we have in events and out events. So in the the pulse is an array of pulses. They have key associated with them. We're gonna put key 0 and names. The name of this one is going to be U timeline, and you will see what I'm referring to. So scalar. So if I put just like this, and there's one more, which is the interval. So it's at what interval it will generate an event, and this is in microseconds, or every 10 microseconds is going to generate an an event. So let's give this a try. Let's go up, and you will see that the time this pulse event is working, but notice that it goes between 0 and 127. Like, so basically imagine this as a key or as a fader that is looping through. I'm gonna stop it. What we are interested is not in something that is looping, but something that is constantly adding or going back. So we are going to use again the shape function to trigger an event, and this event is gonna be that global time is gonna add some value, and then we're gonna say return global time. So so now you see that this is doing something, basically is mapping this to 2 seconds, and but we have no control on it. So what we want to add is the ability to first to start it and stop it, and secondly to make it go faster or slower. So let's start for like making to stop and start when we want. So for that, we are going to define another variable. This variable is going to call play, and it's going to be a boolean. And every time it's gonna do this, every time if global play, so that's when it's going to add 1, it's going to add a value, and in here, else return 0, return false. Okay, so we exit, we save. Oh no, not so fast, we need to add the key events. So here I'm gonna set another key, and to refresh your memory, it was assigned the pressing of the Ortho Remote. It's associated to key number 0. We're gonna give this a name just temporarily, which is going to be a play button, and then the type is gonna be a toggle. Could be anything at this point. And in shape, I'm gonna use this to change a state of the global variable. Basically, I'm using this global variable as a way to read the to like share information between events. So here I'm gonna say if value is 100, and remember that this is the case when it's pressing, then do global play equal to the opposite of global play. So it means if it's stop, turn it on. If it's off, turn it on. So I think that now we are ready to see some action here. So I'm gonna run this, start running, and when I press, it'll stop. And if I press again, it will start. Cool. So let's make some small changes here. First, we want to start this not on but off, and secondly, I want to have a different behavior here, which is I want to be able to make the animation go slower when it's playing, or going backwards when it's playing, and when it's not playing, I want to move and keep the behavior that I had before. So I'm gonna add a new variable for this. We're gonna call this the step. The step is gonna be this 0.01 that we're using here, and we're not gonna say here, you know, I want to add a variable instead of a known value. Oh, there's one little detail also. Notice here in play button on that is sending that. So I want basically to stop I want this to return false always, because I'm not interested in that end message. So remember that returning false in a shape function stops the events for propagating. So this eventually like effectively stops the stop the program MidiGyver to sending the variable. Ooh, that was surprisingly hard. So the part of the code that we want to work is here, and so we're gonna say, you know what? If global yes, play is on, it's true. I actually want a different behavior here. Else, let's keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. So this is all the same. And here we're gonna say, okay, if value equals 127, it means it goes in that direction. Here, what we want to do is not subtract the global time, but the step. Let's make the global step something bigger. And if the opposite direction, I want to make global step smaller. Let's put, and also I want this, in this case, I actually don't want to send extra comment. I want to stop it right here. So we're gonna return this as false. We save and we run it. So here, this is the, I guess I have this in the opposite direction. Yeah, this is doing minus and this is doing plus. Okay, I have to revert some stuff. But let's test the playing. Hey, so now I hit play, start playing, and when I go in this direction, it should go slower to the point that it goes to the opposite direction. So let's fix the direction issue, and then we celebrate by playing it. So the direction issue, we have it here. So actually this is minus and this is plus. This is minus and this is plus. There you go. So we save this. We are gonna run MidiGyver here. Yeah, this is now going positive and this subtract. And this will make the program to go faster and this to make it go slower. So anyway, let's jump into the code and check it out. So now we press and we go forward, the other direction goes backwards. And if we press, it animates. So this, and if we can make this faster, we can make it slower and to the point that it goes to the other direction. So this is it. We cover all the basics. So for now, the ball is in your side. So look around for the MIDI devices that you have in your house. Download and install MidiGyver. Start trying it out and have some fun animating shaders or whatever is controlled through OCC, there's a lot of out there that you can control. Thank you so much for being there and following these 4 tutorials. Please subscribe. I'm going to be making more of these tutorials. Probably the rest is going to be more advanced. And it's my intention to keep showing the tools that I'm making and how I'm making it and how you can use them. So see you next time and thank you for watching. Bye bye.